Dude. Craft Brews and Casual Conversations. Joined with me, the host of High Anxiety Radio. We got Joel on the program. Joel, thanks so much for hopping on, man.
Hey, thank you, Drew. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate this, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. You're not a big beer drinker. You're taking a little hiatus. You've been kind of just on a different path for a bit when it comes to drinking. So you're drinking. It's a local to Wisconsin company, Sprecher. You're drinking the root beer, and you said prior to this that it was disgusting.
Yes, zero sugar root beer. If you ever try their tapped root beer, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I never really cared for their beer either. And you said at the beginning of this, I'm not a big drinker. I used to be a huge beer drinker.
Yeah.
I'm just taking some time off right now, though. Yeah. Almost
definitely.
a year. November 1st will be a year for me.
That's awesome, man. Good for you. Yeah, I've had some Sprecher beer before, and yeah, I gotta say it's not that good.
I agree.
I had like their bourbon barrel root beer one time, and it was horrible. I couldn't say
Yes.
I didn't like it whatsoever.
I'm sorry.
No, You're good. I didn't like it at all.
I was so excited when I saw that in a store and I bought it. And then when I got it home, it was just disgusting.
Yeah, it's absolutely gross. But I'm drinking a beer, and I have one that my aunt from Minnesota recently purchased for me. She's a nice lady. It's from Omni Brewing, which is right down the street in a suburb of Minneapolis. It's called Fad. Freaking awesome, delicious. It's a New England double IPA, and it's I gotta say, it is freaking awesome deliciousness. So it's good.
That's a great name too. Fad.
I like it. It's in a nice gold can. It's got the goods, man. And I'm happy to have it and happy to have it along the ride. Yeah, I don't I don't indulge too much in the beer. I'll just have one or two here and there, like a few a week. But I mean, it happens. And usually when I indulge too much, I regret it the next morning. And
of course,
yeah, I'm getting close to a bachelor party weekend for myself, and I've been kind of prepping, like, what am I gonna do to not feel like shit the next morning? So I'm thinking I'm gonna try to stick to light stuff and water. That's gonna be my goal. Maybe some White Claws.
Yeah, I've tried that once. Our mutual friend, Brandon Kennedy, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, he actually hooked me up with one once. I did not care for it at all.
I didn't like them at first, and I've kind of grown to enjoy them a little bit. There's a lot of breweries too that now make their own seltzers, and there's some that have like a lot better taste than the White Claws. So it's, it does its job, I guess.
What is your favorite beer?
That's a hard question.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it used to be Spotted Cow, but ever since doing this podcast, I gotta say, Spotted Cow it is a staple in Wisconsin, but I just don't really lean towards it that much anymore. I'll still have it if it's available, but really, it's most hazy IPAs. I think the best beer I ever had was a pineapple milkshake IPA from Lion's Tail Brewing in Neenah, which is
Wow.
A little north of us, and it's just in this tiny little brewery, and it was fucking amazing when I had it. I loved it very much, and I haven't had it since, so it's disappointing, but yeah, really, it's pretty much I'll try anything, and I'm a big IPA guy though, for sure.
When I do start drinking again, I will try that pineapple milkshake.
Yeah,
I've never heard of that before, but that's definitely worth checking.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. And the flavors are crazy these days with what the breweries are doing. They have, a popular thing now are these slushy beers. So it's like these pulpy, sour, just thick drinks, and it's like drinking an alcoholic smoothie. Sometimes it's good. I enjoy it.
Kind of like Guinness would be the thickest I would drink, and I couldn't drink more than one of those.
Oh,
it
for
just
sure.
would fill me up.
Yeah. You can't have more than one. At least I can't. And after that, it's like you gotta stick to something light. But let's talk about High Anxiety Radio a little bit. So you do this radio show. I've been doing it for quite some time now, and I guess talk a little bit about it. It's on an internet app, correct?
Yeah, Code Zero Radio. It's on.
Okay.
The show is on Wednesday nights from 7 to 9 sometimes 7 to 10. And it's called, like you just said, High Anxiety. It's a punk show. And I just am going to be starting a second show with my friend Dustin Pixley. And that's going to be called Noise Pollution Radio.
Nice.
Which will probably be after that. We debuted the first episode last night.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so you go through it, you program it all, you kind of like how do you structure it? And it's I mean it's like a radio show. It
is.
So that's pretty sweet. How did you get into that?
My friend Andy McNamara and I were talking about doing a podcast like probably well over 10 years ago, probably 12 years ago, probably
Nice.
back in 2008ish. And that just never happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then he started to work with Bob Minter, the owner of Code Zero Radio, a couple years back. And he just kept saying, you need to start your own show. I have a large music collection, and I just know a lot about music. It's a passion, you know? And then it just kind of stood. And I jumped on Andy's show a few times, then it just kind of took over.
Yeah.
Started off as an hour from 7 to 8, and now I'm the only person on Wednesday night, so I kind of have free reign.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, so I had, when I was doing local radio, I had a show on Sunday nights called Drew's Punk Rock Power Hour. And
Yes.
that was really like my opportunity because I like radio a lot. I missed it a lot. But at the same time, the music fucking sucks like 99% of the time. And I would always like try to, I was even on a rock station, and it's just the music that is in a top 40 rock rotation or alternative rotation just necessarily isn't for me. I do enjoy some bands like, the Foo Fighters, Nirvana, they would play. And, there's definitely bands that are bigger named out there that I do enjoy. But, I'm like, the whole time I'm just thinking, dude, like you could be spinning like all this good shit that a lot of people I think would like, but they never knew existed. And then, I got the show, and it was only an hour long, and it was on a Sunday night. But I got so many compliments about it because they're like, "Dude, you're opening the world to this new music that no one really knows is around," and that's kind of what you're doing too.
Yeah, it's so true. I remember my friend Opie Schwefel was in this band called Johnny and the Fucks from Fond du Lac, and I just specifically remember this. That one time they were played up at Oshkosh. And there was a kid wearing a Rage Against the Machine shirt there. And when they started, I just witnessed somebody like change their life forever.
Yeah.
Just his reaction was like, he never saw anything like that before, and he just fell in love with it instantly. That was way off what you just asked.
No, that's all right.
But still, that was just literally what popped in my head right there. Just like how something you're exposed to can literally change your life. And it's just the means of finding it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my brother kind of got me into this form of music when I was younger. And then just throughout the years, I would just find more music. And I think if everyone would just help each other out, some people have always considered like punk rock, like this is my thing, this is a secret. And I just find that just ridiculous.
Yeah, and I kind of, unfortunately, when I was younger, I kind of used to be like that. I would be like, like this is my little secret or whatever, and because really I had like two friends that were interested in punk rock. I had a lot of friends that like were really into like that scenester shit and the little like hard, like if you want to call it hardcore or like screamo type of stuff, and I some of that I do like. But it wasn't until my friend Josh one day like picked me up when I was like 4. I don't know. I was pretty young, but he picked me up in his car, and he's listening to an Anti-Flag record, and I was just like, like, what is this? And he's just like, oh, it's punk rock, kid. Here you go. That type of thing. And
exactly.
Yeah, I fell in love. And I had gone when I was in, how old? It was in 2005. I was 14. I went to my first Warped Tour, and that's when I was kind of like really getting into music. I was 14. Pretty much all I listened to was Blink-182 at the time, because that's just what what was popular and what I liked. I didn't have many, my mom listened to Prince and Journey, and my dad listens to country. So I just wasn't really, and I like Prince, I like Journey. Some country's okay, but I didn't have like a specific sound. I just listened to Blink-182, and then I went to Warped Tour, and I saw like I saw the Transplants, which was probably like the most like I guess you could say like punkish band that I saw. And I just went there because Travis Barker was in there. I didn't know who Tim Armstrong was. I was just like, but I really enjoyed the show. It was a lot of fun, and it was like, the crowds are rowdy and aggressive, and I'm just this little kid, but I'm bumming in the back. And I actually got to meet Travis Barker after the show, just kind of randomly. And,
that's awesome.
14-year-old kid, you're just kind of shitting your pants at that moment. So
I would imagine, yeah.
Yeah, so like that kind of introduced me a little bit to it, but it really wasn't until probably about the next year or so where Josh, I think he hung out with probably a lot of people that and he was friends with people who were in the Finnegans, that band from back in the day, and stuff like that. So it was just it really opened my eyes, and then that's something him and I bond over all the time now, was just music. And now I wish I dropped that mentality of I'm not going to tell people about all this good music I listen to, because it's like, fuck, I got nobody to talk to about all this good music I listen to.
Exactly. And it's also just a part of getting older too.
Right.
You obviously open up your mind more and are more accepting and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's true. And then it's just hard to try to convince people to listen to punk, or even to like, I'm a really big fan of the Menzingers, and I wouldn't consider them a punk band. They kind of started as one, but they're not now and out. But I absolutely love them, and even getting some of my friends just to listen to them is a pain in the ass. And I try not to be, but sometimes I'm the guy who, you're at a group gathering and they're listening to some shitty Spotify playlist, and I'm just like, and I'll sneak in and I'll be like, hey, Alexa, play this or whatever. And then everyone's like, what the fuck? It's just like, it's hard not to be that guy that is just trying to force the music into people's lives.
No, I totally get that. Most of the people I know, most of my friendships and relationships have been started from music, actually, over the years, for the most part. And not all of my friends listen to that type of music, but we still have other things in common, but it's still based off music one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of my closest friends are Andy and Tony McNamara of the band Pudge, and that's who I was just talking about. Andy was the one who got me involved in the show, and they're just like a more of an indie rock band.
Right.
Personally, I think they're my favorite band in Wisconsin, but
that's awesome.
I think people should check them out.
Yeah, I've seen Pudge. I saw him play at in Oshkosh one time at, I forget, maybe it was at the Varsity. Could be.
Yes, I was not at that show, but yeah,
I've
heard about that quite a few times.
Yeah, it was a good time.
I strongly recommend people check them out. In fact, last night on the Noise Pollution Radio, we went. Dustin Pixley and I went track by track and interviewed them, and they talked about each song. Nice. The production and stuff like that on their first album.
Yeah, that's great. So when you're what goes into planning your shows?
Not much, to be honest with you. I'm a walker. I like walking a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I commute to work, so like when I get home, I go for walks and I'm just looking at my phone, putting songs together.
Yeah,
I enjoy doing it. It's just like putting together a mixed CD or tape, a compilation, which you would have done growing up. Most people do that.
Right.
And now I just do it weekly. Enjoy it quite a bit.
Yeah, that's what I like too about the kind of the format that you're doing, is like you're actually personally picking music that speaks to you, that you enjoy the sound, and you want to, or bands that you are looking to highlight and get some more eyes and ears on them. Whereas in like a more traditional radio sense, it's just automatic kind of studios saying this music is what you need to play, and it's it's more personal with what you have going on, which is awesome.
This is Dr. Feelgood for the 100th time today or something like that.
If I have to hear that fucking GNR song, I think it's called November Rain or some shit like that. If I have to hear that again, I will just throw myself off a bridge.
Yeah, like Welcome to the Jungle, Smells Like Teen Spirit, Dr. Feelgood. I guarantee you turn on any radio station in any state and you'll hear one of those three songs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Any rock station, I mean.
yeah. Even any like top 40 station will probably, oh, it's a throwback. Here it is. Welcome to the jungle or something like that. So when you're picking, is it just stuff that you listen to? Is it are you also like looking for kind of local bands or pretty much any kind of DIY type of band?
Yeah, everything I play that I choose, I like. And then every show I play like one female fronted artist.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
And also a Wisconsin band.
Nice.
Just because there is so much historically good music from Wisconsin that a lot of people don't know. And to be honest, lately I just keep playing a lot of the same stuff, so I'm trying to play a little bit more obscure stuff, which just try to expose it to other people.
Definitely. Yeah, it's hard sometimes after a while. If you've been doing it a while, you in kind of like with anybody's, I think, music listening patterns is you kind of like gravitate towards the same stuff for a while, and then all of a sudden like something new will pop in, and then you kind of gravitate towards that. So it's definitely hard to make playlists of fresh new artists or play a song that you haven't played in the previous week. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with a little repeating.
No, at first for like the first 10 shows, I wouldn't repeat anything, but then I'm just like, I should just play what I want to. So
right
after that, just as I gained experience and became a little bit more confident and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of busted it open. And I don't just play punk. I play like some surf rock, some thrash metal, just really not much ska. Not a very big fan, but I do have people who request it, which then I will play.
Yeah.
I mean, I love like slapstick and some boss tones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
A little bit more of the harder edge stuff.
Right. I was fortunate enough to see Slapstick one time when they did like that reunion show at Riot Fest. This is a long time ago now, but it was it's a magical thing. And there's a Slapstick family tree, which is always interesting to look into. Have you ever heard of that?
With like the Broadways and Oakland Trio, yes.
Like there's
possibly.
Yeah, so it's like pretty much the Slapstick family tree is all the members of the band and what other bands formed as a result, and there's just a ton. It's a very long list. I'll send it to you. It's pretty interesting, but obviously Alkaline Trio, the Lawrence Arms, the Broadways, all the stuff that Brendan Kelly does, but then like even Less Than Jake has connections to Slapstick. And like all these other bands, it's pretty interesting to take a look at. But why don't you like ska? What's wrong with it?
I just not very much of it. Like there's a couple of those Less Than Jake albums I like. I don't really listen to them anymore. Against All Authority is good.
They're good, yeah.
Evil Doers Beware by Mustard Plug. That's still a great album.
Yeah. Mustard Plug's a shit. I love Mustard Plug. It's I used to like really be in ska for a long time, and then I would always deny the talent of the RX Bandits, and then it wasn't until like probably like a couple of years ago where I like really listened to the RX Bandits. I'm like, fuck, these guys are good, and I've missed multiple opportunities to see them. As far as like going to shows, obviously we can't go to shows right now because of the state of the world. But do you have like a bucket list of bands that you want to see that you haven't seen yet?
Honestly, I'd have to think about that, but I go to a ton of shows every year.
Yeah.
Probably last year I saw over 250 bands, I bet.
That's fucking crazy.
Like last year I went to Fest in Gainesville. I went to Ride Fest, which I go to every year. Yeah. I saw Slapstick.
Oh, you were there? Okay. Yeah.
I was there, yeah.
Yeah.
Punk Rock Bowling in Vegas, and last year I also went up to Pooza Fest in Montreal.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that was awesome. We have a friend who lives up there, so she actually like showed us around and stuff like that. It's quite amazing.
I was supposed to go to Fest this year, and then next week I was supposed to be going to Fest.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone to Fest before?
No, this was going to be my first time, and the fucking lineup was so good, and I was just like, I'm pretty sure like No Trigger was playing, who I've never seen that I really enjoy, And I was so pumped that I was gonna go with my friend who I don't get to see too often, and he's in the army, but he's really into punk and everything.
Nice.
But yeah, I was. It's a bummer, but shit happens.
It's an amazing place because all of downtown Gainesville is closed down because Gainesville's, I think, playing the Gators are playing Alabama that
Yeah,
weekend. So all the hotels are empty. So like downtown, it's just people there specifically for fest. There's no violence. There's no fights.
right.
It's just amazing, really.
Yeah.
There's no barricades like at Ride Fest or something like
Oh,
that.
really?
You're
That's
not
awesome.
stuck in one place. No, it's just that little small bars. And then in the middle of the town, they have, I think it's the Bo Diddley Square, is where like Against Me, bigger bands like that would be
Sure.
playing.
That's sweet. Yeah, I enjoy Riot Fest. I went there the first couple times it was still at the Congress Theater in Chicago,
Yes.
which I think is now gone, or I think that it's for sure closed. I don't know if they tore it down or not, but and that I liked that format a little bit just because they did the after party shows at other like venues, which they kind of still do, but I don't think they do it to the same degree as it once was. And it also gave you an opportunity to really discover new bands. Like the first time I ever saw the Copyrights was at Riot Fest, and
Me too.
it's just because it was one stage and they're playing their set, they're getting off, and the next band's playing. I really like that, and I kind of miss that about Riot Fest because now it's fucking. I still love it. It's still fun, but man, you really got to like plot your day out, and you have to pretty much find the bands that you like already, because you're not really going to necessarily find a gap in time for you to bum around and find new bands. I mean, it might happen sometimes, but yeah, the last time I went was I wasn't. It was maybe in 2018. I want to say 2018. And it was a lot of fun. I watched Pussy Riot for a little bit, and that was a lot different than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I saw them. I don't know if it was 18 or a few years before that. Was Henry Rollins like interviewing them?
No,
I know
she was
there was
performing when I saw, and it was just the one girl. It wasn't the band. It was
Okay.
it was like some weird like rap thing. I didn't really know what was happening, and then I left.
I think I saw him a different time. Like Henry Rollins interviewed him first, and then they played.
Okay.
But I thought that was several years before that.
Yeah, probably. Henry Rollins, he's a kind of a punk icon, but if I'm being honest, I think he's kind of a dick.
He is.
And I just
Although,
go ahead.
like when he does do shows and stuff like that, he will stick around, like talking to people and signing autographs until everyone leaves.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah, but he's definitely on his own level there. Yeah.
He's just eating it up. I think that's all purely like an egotistical move, probably.
100%. He's very pretentious.
Oh, for sure. It's interesting because you'll hear about people who will just really like gush about Henry Rollins, and I'm just like, I don't know. I think he's kind of an asshole, but
I used to be really into like his spoken words and his books and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I was never really. I like Black Flag, but I like everything before Rollins.
Okay.
When he joined the band, I think they just fell apart. And I was never a Henry Rollins band fan, the Rollins band. But I did interview him in the early 2000s, and it was just all like, yeah, it was all just like one-word answers.
Oh, that's shitty.
Yeah, he wasn't giving me anything, but he still took time out to do it.
What did you interview him for?
I was writing for a friend's online magazine, which it's not going to come to me right now. And then one of it was my friend Sam Richard who lives in Minnesota.
Okay.
And he had a online magazine where I was like, online webzine, and I was like doing interviews and doing record reviews. And then later on, my friend Jason Ramirez and I started our own zine. Called Last Man Standing was ours. And that was like really early 2000s. But prior to that, I can't remember what the hell his. And then I interviewed Bobby Steele from The Undead, who was original member of the Misfits.
Oh, crazy.
And that one turned out really well. I remember that. I
That's
don't
pretty
really
sweet.
remember what else, but I know there was more than that.
You've been
That was
really
a long time ago.
Yeah, so you've really been kind of like putting in the work in this kind of in this world for quite some time. You're doing the online zines and now you're doing the show. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I used to have a record label called Almost Good Music.
Really? Oh, that's wow.
Yeah, I think it started about 2000, and from there we would start setting up shows where like touring bands like the Hudson Falcons,
Yeah.
GC5, Link 80 played, but we didn't have anything to do with that. But Opie's band at the time was playing with Pick Nine, and those were the guys that brought in Link 80. But there were some bigger bands that used to play here,
Yeah.
and then it just kind of fell apart. Then it kind of came back a few years ago. Now it's pretty much dead again.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's I couldn't tell you really the last like decent local show that was available. Probably the benefit for Opie.
Oh yeah, that turned out gigantic.
Yeah.
That was my Andy and Tony, the guys from Pudge. They were the ones who put that together, and it was just amazing, like how well that all turned out. And if the weather wasn't bad, I'm sure there would have been like a million more, not a million, but a ton more people.
Right. Right, definitely. Yeah, I miss the local stuff, even like some of the local bars that used to welcome punk bands and just kind of local talent. They don't do it anymore. Now it's all cover bands and like DJs and shit like that, which I guess it serves its purpose to a degree, but I don't know. Some of the best times I ever had were fucking at a Offend Your Friend show. And it's just, it's local, it's down the street at some kind of dive bar or just kind of anywhere. It could be somebody's house and they're throwing a show in, and it's just you're with these people, and it really is a community. And punk rock isn't like what it used to be back in the fucking 80s or even some of like the early 90s where you had to worry about getting the shit beat out of you or stuff like that. And I don't know if I would have gravitated towards it if that's what it was still today. Maybe I'd listen to the music but not attend the shows. Which is part of the experience. It's I miss the local shows and how fun they were. I really do.
I remember going to shows and there'd be a lot of violence. Like I still remember somebody getting hit in the eye with a pool ball.
Oh damn!
And just the amount of blood was just disgusting.
Yeah,
I remember a lot of that. I'm not a violent person, and I like watching like UFC and stuff like that.
Right.
But, like I just don't want to see some dude almost lose his eye.
Right. Yeah.
I don't need.
You're a little older than me, so yeah, I think you might have experienced some of that. I've seen fights and shit like that, but and I've helped a passed out guy like out of a crowd before and stuff like that, but it's
awesome.
Yeah,
it's important too.
Oh yeah,
like
I was at the Descendants show the last time they played in Milwaukee, which wasn't that a couple of years ago. They played with like Radkey and the Pukes, and then the dude just I don't know what happened, but his face was bloody and he was on the ground. And like no one's helping him. I had to drag his fucking ass out of the crowd.
Wow.
I was like, I guess I got this.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not one other person was there to help. So good job, Drew.
Yeah. I don't know what the deal was, but he came back too once I propped him on the chair. He seemed, and then I was like, "You good?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, all right, back to the show. And I went back to where I was. But it's always a good time. So how can people, get in touch with your radio shows? How can they get requests in, and how can they listen to it?
Yeah. First off, we have an app. The station has an app where you can listen to stuff on demand. I have 3 tributes to my friend Opie Schwefel, who passed away last year. And the first one, I would recommend people checking those out.
Yeah.
They're on the on demand. And then another one of my friends, Phil, passed away, who is also in Pudge. That's on demand too. But other than that, I've got other shows on there right now. Like for my 77th episode, that was all music from the year 1977.
Nice.
Same with 82, which was more of the UK, like right. 77 when punk kind of started getting bigger. There was like the Ramones stuff in New York, but then like Australia was doing their own thing. The UK obviously was. It's just weird that all these areas at once were going on. So like specifically that would be all like 77 bands.
Right.
The 82 is mostly like more aggressive, like UK 82. It's called like a lot of Oi street punk.
Right.
I've got a show for that. And then recently I just did the 90th and 92nd episode, which was just my friends, two of my friends, Jason Schweifel and my friend Brandon Richard, where we played nothing but music from 90 to 95 for the first episode.
Nice.
And then episode 92 would be 96 to 2000. It's good. Yeah. And when you're on, you're going to be on in the next few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You've already picked out your songs.
Yeah.
And then if you ever want to come back in the future and do a specific show, like any genre, type of punk or anything else, I really enjoy nerding out about that. Like, really, really much.
Yeah.
It really makes me happy, like looking up stuff and stuff like that. But yes, getting back to your other question there. Sorry. I like to go on tangents sometimes. So I usually always keep the older episodes up for a few weeks.
Okay.
And then I just replace them.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's on Code Zero Radio, the website. Otherwise, if you're looking for requests or just to get in contact, we have a Facebook page, just High Anxiety Radio.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just message me, Joel Ziegler. Excuse me. That
all good.
Terrible zero sugar-free root beer is now coming up. I just belched.
Why did you pick the zero sugar? You try to not take on the sugar too, or?
Yeah, exactly. And I saw them post this on Facebook, so I grabbed this.
Yeah.
And I grabbed an orange sickle or the Sprecher orange, and that I couldn't even drink that. It was so terrible. I was telling this to one of my friends, and they said one of the sweeteners in here is just absolutely disgusting. I don't know which one it is, but anything that you get with that sweetener is just like
aspartame.
Going to taste. It's not that. I don't know which one it is.
Just some gross
nor do I even want to attempt to pronounce a couple of these. We'll just say it's the monk fruit.
Yeah, I haven't had. I have a soda from time to time, and it's usually a diet one. But I used to go, I used to probably drink a fucking close to a liter of soda a day.
Holy shit!
Yeah, and that was kind of in high school, college, and I drink a lot of Monster Energy drinks. And at one point in time, I weighed 267 pounds, and you could see why. So it's, that shit is horrible. Horrible for you.
It is terrible. I just was so excited just to try this. If you go to Joe's Fox Hut, and try the Sprecher on tap there, it's just amazing. So I was so excited to try this, and
disappointed.
Amazingly terrible, I guess.
Yeah,
this is still amazing.
For our non-local listeners, it'd be the equivalent of maybe going to an A&W, drinking that root beer, because that shit is delicious. And then,
it is.
And then going to the store and buying the A&W in a can, it's just not as good.
Not even close. Yeah. Especially Sprecher, like the one at Joe's Fox Hut, which is a pizza place in Fond du Lac,
right,
Wisconsin. Particularly that one is just like super strong.
They got the goods,
like,
man.
Yeah. And it's just flavorful.
And their pizza's fucking great too. Yeah,
I honestly think I'm still trying to figure out if Bob's or Joe's is better.
that's yeah. It's and this is kind of just a side thing, but I had an idea once for like a Food Network show, and it would be every season I'm trying to find the perfect blank. One season it's like I'm trying to find the perfect slice of pizza, and then I'm just like going to all these different places. They're talking their history, and I'm just eating their fucking pizza, and I go, all right, so Bob's is almost as good as Joe's, or like it just kind of like rank them, and then like the next episode it's like, all right, so Joe's won that round, and like the next time, all right, Little Caesars, let's see how this compares, and like kind of carry the winner over. And then one season it's like pizza, the next season it's like I'm looking for some Philly cheesesteaks or some shit like that. Yeah. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I would watch that. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
I just want to eat a lot of free food. That's really
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to.
And then you're obviously, people would be steering you towards the good places. They're
Right.
certainly not going to be like, check out this place, it's terrible. So you're actually just eating the best food.
That's right. It's like Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives with Guy Fieri, only with a guy who really doesn't have like a professional way to describe food or to describe like what you should be expecting with it. Just a guy who's eating good shit and says, "Yeah, it's great, and this is what I like about it."
Exactly.
I'm just an average guy, and not a Guy Fieri.
What qualifications does that guy have, anyways? Is he a professional chef, I wonder?
I think so. He won like some reality TV show on the Food Network. I don't really know what it was. It was like maybe to become a host of or something, but he had to have some knowledge on food. And I think he is a chef of sorts, but I don't know. He uses the word Flavor Town. I mean, how special can he be? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And he looks like the singer of that one 90s band too.
Sugar Ray,
maybe that's it. I
or
don't know.
Smash Mouth.
Smash Mouth, that's it. Yes, exactly.
They were the shit back in the day. They were on Shrek. They played the Shrek music.
Yeah. And they played the Fond du Lac Fair, or they were supposed to.
No, they were supposed to. So I've heard two renditions of why they canceled. So they were supposed to. This was in the 90s too, kind of at their peak. They were supposed to play the Fond du Lac County Fair, and I've heard, I heard that they had to cancel because they got pulled over and there was cocaine on their bus.
Okay.
I don't know the accuracy.
Seems very plausible. Yeah.
I don't know.
It seems like it should be more meth than cocaine, but that's
Yeah.
a whole different other subject.
Right. So I don't know if that's true, or I think I just think they had to cancel for scheduling conflicts. I'd like to think it's the cocaine. It's
Me too.
A little more exciting.
More than likely, they could play like Boise, Idaho that night or something. So they're just like,
yeah.
Screw Fond du Lac, we can play Boise.
Yeah, they do. They did play like a 90s show in Oshkosh at Waterfest one time. It was them, the Blues Traveler, and Sugar Ray. I didn't go to it, but I know a lot of people who did, and they really relived some of their peak mid-90s memories.
I went to a Packer game right after that, and the dude, John Papa or whatever his name is, from Blues Traveler.
Yeah.
And I think it was like the same, like that was Thursday probably, or whatever day
Thursday,
that was.
Right.
And then he did the national anthem on his harmonica.
Oh, really?
So I think it was like the same weekend.
Yeah.
You know, like he was in the area.
That's pretty cool. One time I was at a Packer game and Will Ferrell was there.
Nice.
I don't know why. I don't know how, but he was there. There he was.
Probably a Packer fan.
Yeah, he was on the sideline for the Packers, and he was I don't know why he was in town, but fuck, I mean, that's pretty sweet. I was like, oh,
it is. It's awesome.
I'm in the same.
Did they
building.
win that game?
Yeah, I've never seen the Packers lose. I've seen them tie once, but other than that, they've won every single time.
I think I'm trying to remember. I don't know. I think I went to the Dolphins game last year, but I thought they lost that.
They might have. Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't remember.
I went to 2 games last year. The first game I went to, I got engaged. I was
Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's awesome.
I was very, very drunk. Very drunk. And obviously not that drunk because we're still engaged. And everything is in motion for the marriage to happen. And then 2 weeks later, I went again against when they played the Bears, and that was exciting. It's always fun. It's a magical place.
Especially against the Bears.
Fuck yeah.
It really is. I've got a couple friends who don't like football, just a couple, and I'm like, you live in Wisconsin, you need to go to Lambeau for a game at some point. It's Wisconsin. I even have a friend who hates football and hates sports, and he went to a game because he was offered like tickets in a box, and he just was like, it was an amazing experience.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Packers and punk rock and, Wisconsin, sugar-free soda and beer. That's what I'm all about.
That's pretty much my life too.
But Joel, thanks so much for hopping on, man. And yeah, definitely. Anyone listening to this, you can download Code Zero Radio just on Apple or your Google device, whatever the hell you got, and listen to Joel. What days of the week is it again?
Wednesday nights from 7 to 9, and sometimes
it's Central Time. Yeah,
correct, Central Time. And sometimes there will be a show on after it. I'll be doing a special, or
nice.
I'll just be going late. Next week, Brendan Kennedy's supposed to be on for a Halloween show.
Nice.
He was the singer of the Jurassics.
Yep.
A kind of defunct band right now.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
And then we've got a ton of other shows planned. You'll be on in the next few weeks.
Yeah. I look forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be dipping into the old radio roots again. I'm looking forward to it. Only we won't play Disturbed Sound of Silence.
Well, I'll be sure to bust out a Dr. Feelgood for you just to make you feel at home.
Yeah, just for some form of familiarity there. But
exactly.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate you coming on, and I look forward to the continued success of the punk rock world that you continue to bring it. And that.
Hey, thank you, Drew. And I love your Strange Brew shows too. By the way.
Thanks, man.
I just find those fascinating.
They're fucking hard. They're hard to plan because we, Rob has so much like knowledge about all these like crazy ass conspiracies because he's watched every documentary ever made in the existence of time. But there's some times where I forget what we talked about in the last one. Oh, we talked about the Nazi bell and the time traveling thing. But there's times where like we're setting up we're all set to record, and then we're just like, what are we doing? What are we talking about? And it's hard to find. It's hard for me, I guess, to find new paranormal shit that I haven't talked about before, or in a different realm of the paranormal that isn't redundant. Our next Strange Brew, which I think is either coming out tomorrow, or maybe we'll save it for like a special Halloween release. We are talking to my friend Todd, who is on, if you have Amazon Prime, he's on a show called Haunted State.
Nice.
So he's a ghost hunter, in a sense, a paranormal investigator. He's been on the show before, but he is going to teach us how to become ghost hunters, what we need to do, the tools we need, and how to do it.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's something I want to do. I want to go on one like ghost hunting experience and just see what it's like.
Halloween night, the rave is doing that. I think that Friday and Saturday night you can go through the rave.
Yeah,
with all the light.
Yeah, without all
lights off,
just a flashlight or whatever. Yeah, unfortunately I have to work second shift those days, so it doesn't work. But that would be sweet because the rave is a crazy ass place with a lot of weird history right across the street from the Ambassador Hotel, where Jeffrey Dahmer famously frequented.
Exactly.
So a lot of history there in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Cannibalism, murder, and ghosts. What more do you need?
Exactly. That's Wisconsin for you.
Yeah, that's right. All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Hey, thank you, Drew. I appreciate being on, man.
Pew pew audio. Goodbye, everyone.